Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be our recap for Double Agents. I believe it is episode 13. Let me check my notes. It is episode 13. As always, my name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
My best friend, Jake.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? The little screen on my mic was crooked, and it was bothering me.
For a second, I thought you just weren't going to talk. I thought you were just going to hang out and be a DIYer back there.
Yeah, no. How is everybody doing? I never just specifically asked how you guys are doing.
You know, that is
I liked
true.
your hey. It was very energetic tonight.
I don't think you've ever specifically asked us how we're doing. I think you just kind of throw it out in the ether to anyone listening.
Well, Zach, real quick, speaking of how excited Han mentioned that my hey sounded, Han, we took a picture together last night. And
we took a lot of pictures together last night.
We did, and Zach took them of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Our husband, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Our husband.
And so I thought I'd throw up on Instagram.
I thought you were going to throw up.
I thought I'd throw up.
I said,
vomit every now and then.
were Han and Jake right to leave Zach out of the picture? One option was, yeah, forget Zach. Another option was, no, what dirtbags? 64.
You know what? I didn't vote on it, so I'm going to vote on it.
I didn't either. I didn't vote on it.
I voted on it.
Well, fine, I'll go vote on it then. Hold on, here we go.
It's gonna make it the exact same.
Yeah, forget Zach. All right, there we go. So it should be updated. So now it is at 63%. Yeah, forget Zach. 37%. No, what dirtbags? So sounds like me and Han did a good thing. Would you like to know some people who
what?
Who want to forget
who
you?
Live.
Who want to forget me?
Yeah, because I think these may stand out to you. People you would know. I'm not going to throw out, some people we're not as familiar with, but
does
Not
it
full
show?
names.
Does it show?
Yeah, it shows.
Who
Yeah,
voted
you
for
can
it?
go and see who votes on
I don't
things.
ever do the polls.
well, let's
I like
give
doing
a
polls. They're
let's
fun.
give a quick shout out to Grimm.
He doesn't get a shout out for that.
Your college buddy, Canada Chris.
You know what? Screw you, Chris.
Let's see. Your own wife, Hannah.
She said she was going to vote that way. Oh, here we go. Here's the poll results. I'm pulling them up on my phone too.
Fine. Do you want to call out any? What about Kelsi? Han's best bud, Kelsi.
Kelsi has my back always.
I didn't want to be in the picture, so it doesn't hurt my feelings because
You hate taking pictures.
Also, when you guys took that, I had a really bad headache and I just wanted to leave.
You were already pretty moody.
Corn dog Katie.
Again, I
The
didn't.
people hate you.
I didn't want to be in the picture, so it doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
Patron Connor.
You're just naming more things that are not affecting anything.
Patron Paul.
Which one?
Not stat checker.
Okay.
The good Paul.
Yeah, the good Paul.
Yeah.
I guess speaking of the bad Paul, I guess
No, our Statman Paul is good Paul also.
no, he's bad Paul.
I love Statman Paul.
Well, we
He's my friend.
actually did a meet the Patreon, not meet the Patreon, Patreon.
Patreon.
Patrons.
Patreon hangout with him where we did a video interview and just kind of got his knowledge on the challenge and how he got into it. And then somehow we devolved into talking about the X-Men movies for a while.
I think that's how we started out.
And so that's up on our Patreon, patreon.com/smashingitspodcast. We do exclusive stuff on there, and then we have we have some off-topic podcasts we do that are exclusive there and things like that. So again, it's patreon.com/smashingitspodcast. And our Patreon crew has basically become like a secondary family to us at this point. I mean, it's I know as much about a lot of them as I do probably a lot of people that I know in real life.
Also, you don't know much about the people that you're friends with in real life
I know.
because you don't have many friends.
Well, that fact, the two things you said do not correlate with each other at all.
They do.
They don't.
Well, a funny thing was thrown around in our Slack group, could be the next Redemption House, is Han and I are going to play a game of trivia, but about you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
It started off as random trivia.
But this sounds like a much better plan.
Yeah, which was not my plan at all.
But it's your best friend pitted against the woman you sleep next to and with.
Yeah,
We don't sleep together.
That's a very weird way to say that.
Well, you're married. I mean, it's for the kids when you're married.
What I was going to say is when your brother, who, if anyone follows along with us, that we don't know where he is anymore. None of us have talked to him in 5 years or so. When Jake's brother got married, they were playing a newlywed game with all the couples there, and Jake and I tried to enter as a couple because we were like, we'll win this. Like, we will win this game.
100%.
And then the parents of the bride did not let us play.
Well, let's be honest. They were a very privileged family, had a lot of money.
Yeah, they were not. They weren't what you would call a fun family.
No. Everything had to be proper and in its place. And Zach and I were out of place. We would. We absolutely would have. And so I think the same would apply now.
Yeah. I really. The thing is, you've known me a lot longer. You have.
That's true.
It's just part of it. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out the victor in the end.
Who comes out the end?
Yeah, who comes out the end? Because you've known me double the amount of time Hannah has. Actually, probably close to triple the amount of time Hannah has. We weren't like best friends back then,
but she's probably resided with you, and for just as long. Like been by your side. The equivalent. You equated, if you add the time up...
You're doing a lot of hand gestures right now.
Here?
If you add up the actual time that we have all spent together with you...
Yeah,
she's
I get
probably
what you're
close.
saying.
Yeah.
You did live with me for a while, though, in multiple places.
But
Yeah.
you guys have lived together for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I guess it has been our anniversary since we recorded last time.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Quarter century.
Quarter century. Yeah.
That's not right.
25 years.
I'm only 25 years old.
Anyway, like I said up top, patreon.com/minutes.
Smash.
And then, again,
Go buy our merch and wear it and take pictures and put it on the internet and tag us.
Actually, somebody did that the other day in one of those challenge groups, and I replied to it, but I forgot to screenshot it.
Oh, can you please do that? I want to see it.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Well, they tagged the podcast. You guys all have access to it. It's not just me.
On Twitter?
No, it was on Facebook.
Oh, I don't have that.
You all do. You just don't.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. You all do. You just don't use any of it. We all have the same knowledge. When we set all this up, we've shared every bit of passwords and usernames and all that stuff. Jake uses it somewhat. Hannah doesn't use it at all. And
I've never logged into any of it.
Yeah, I know, but you say you don't have it, but you have it. And then Jake, it's probably, if you ever see us on social media, it's probably 90% chance it's me. And then there's like a 9% chance it's Jake. And then it's a 1%.
Absolute 0% chance it's me because I've never logged into anything.
You didn't let me finish. It's a 1% chance that someone hacked our account and then said something, and then it's not even possible that Hannah's going to get on it because she refuses to think that she has the information. So, Jake, it was like a week and a half ago. I don't even know when it was. It was in one of those big challenge groups. They tagged us with a couple other podcasts that they bought merch from.
Well,
I commented on it.
I just found so we started this pod on July 4th of 2018, and I was
Happy birthday, America.
Scrolling through posts that our podcast was tagged in on Facebook, and you actually posted on March 8th of 2019, so not even a year into our podcast existence, and you posted the stats from, I forget where we were set up at. We were already at 50,000 downloads at that point.
Were we?
Yeah.
I know 2 years ago, as of yesterday or the day before, was when the Wes interview dropped, part 1. And so maybe that obviously was a big bump and all of that. So, it's been kind of hard to track the stats just because we've changed hosts 3 times, and so those stats don't transfer over. I mean, we're over 200,000. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's somewhere between 225, 250. I really have no idea because we lost all of the Podbean stats when we changed, and then we went to a one called Megaphone for 2 months, and then from there they changed us to Spreaker, which we've been on Spreaker for about a year and a half now, something like that.
You could say that Han is actually what puts us over the top because our other podcast is not doing so hot.
Yeah,
It
Jake,
is. It's me.
Jake and I reviewed I reviewed the other podcast we do, and we're talking some things out. We got to figure out what's going on with that one.
What if you just add me in the mix?
I just think the audience is completely different. Like, people who love the challenge are really fanatical about it and seek it out. People who love the Grizzlies don't necessarily look for like auxiliary Grizzlies stuff like to the same extent. The challenge community has been its own like unique experience as far as like fandom and things like that. It can swing really far in one direction, that's not good, but it can also be extremely good in the other direction. So, do you guys have anything else you want me to hit before we go into tonight's episode? You raise your hand, Jake. You.
Yeah. So I prefaced you guys with something before we recorded.
Yes.
All right. Now look, there was a lot of heat after last week's episode, just all across the board, right? Just all across
in the challenge
community
world.
Yeah. Yes. And that is in regards to the whole Big T, CT thing that happened. Now, the reason I say there was a lot of heat is because we weren't just talking about the show anymore. We were talking about people's characters. And I saw people, calling for, CT's head and questioning his. I saw people call him a sexist. I saw people just call him everything under the sun, right? All because, and I stand by my response last week in that the man celebrated a victory and was excited to have the best female by his side now. All right, I stand by it. I still see no disrespect in what he did. What's funny is something happened tonight, Zach, and I'm building up a tease here.
So I was like, you told us you were going to talk about this a long time.
We're building up a tease, so just a quick build up to the tease. So I have a new lady in my life. I think you both can attest that she is something special. Han?
Absolutely.
Zach?
I said, Yeah.
Okay.
Did you not hear me?
Yeah, so... we went to a Memphis Grizzlies game, all four of us, last Thursday, a week ago tonight. And she had known that I do this podcast, right? But she's never watched the challenge, and she actually wanted to...
Did she know what it was before?
I don't think she did. I don't think she did, no. And so she wanted to watch it. And so it's a 15 to hour and a half drive. So...
To the Grizzlies game.
To the Grizzlies game. So she threw it on my phone, and we cranked on episode 1 of Double Agents. It was cool to get to go back and kind of reminisce on some things. Wes getting hit in the face with his shoe.
I forgot about that.
Things like that. And tonight, before I sat down to pod with you guys, we watched episode 2. Now, some of you guys may have forgotten at this point, Big T and Joseph were teammates to start this.
I did forget this.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody just forgot Joseph, if we're being honest.
Other than the mustard, yes.
Yeah, and so something very, very interesting happened on that episode. And I'm coming for heads tonight. I'm calling out all the stands. We've done it with the Cara stands in the past, and I'm calling out all the Big T stands tonight. And so that is a tease. You're going to want to hang around to when we get to the end of this episode and we talk elimination, because that's when everything's coming full circle.
Yeah. So you did tell us. I'm not going to get into it now just because you did tell us what it was, and I had completely forgotten about it. In full honesty.
He said Joseph, and I said, who is Joseph?
No, I knew who Joseph was. I didn't remember what you're going to talk about. But yeah, just going back to what happened last week, It's pretty crazy because, in our Slack group, in our Patreon Slack group, we have a wide variety of fans. A lot of, old school fans, middle, era, and then, new school people who started watching, the last 2-3 years. And it was divided.
There were
opinion wise,
pretty heated conversation.
Well, not in our everyone on our Slack group was very civil about it. They had differing opinions, and all three of us had different opinions about what happened, and it's just it's interesting that this was what caused such a rift in the challenge world, and again, I think you're entitled to your own opinions on whatever you think. I just think it's interesting that all three of us had a different opinion. We saw all three of the same opinions backed by various people in our Slack groups and throughout Twitter. And then you have people that obviously take it way too far in one direction or the other.
And I want to be very clear. I don't care who you're a fan for or who you're a fan of. If you're a fan of Big T, great. If you're a fan of CT, great. Cam, Kyle, I don't care. Whoever.
There's only one fan group that we've had like sequential run-ins with, and it's been like, oh, this is just not fun to deal with.
Yeah, but my issue, I'm going to call it weird fandom throughout the night. It's the extent of the fandom. That's when it becomes weird to me.
Well, yeah, it's just the stan culture in general can get a little strange as we've learned that.
So sit tight, everybody, because the heat's coming, and if you're not prepared to take the heat in the kitchen, get out.
That is not how that saying goes, but you got all the words in there.
Yeah.
So this episode kicks off with I kind of forgot what the daily was called, but it's just Night of Hell is what TJ says.
Technically, it was a nightly, not a daily.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's still
check yourself before you.
That's
there's
clever,
still
man.
There's still a day. Like you say, 1 day's period is 24 hours, so it can still be a daily, just at night.
No, it's a nightly.
Okay. Well, according to this, they're all missions, because that's all agent themed.
This one was kind of scary with all the lights flickering, and apparently there were like crazy noises.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how much of that was done in post. There were noises though, because they were covering their ears and things. I do have a feeling they ramped it up a little bit in the post production, but
I think I saw CT on at some point.
Probably.
I mean, it was probably late at night.
Well, I know they finished at 5 a.m. That's when they got back to the house. Yeah. So it was late. But yeah, they basically, the first thing they have to do is just like, he's like, hey guys, hold this bomb. And it's a medicine ball.
I wish we'd have known how much it weighed.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, what do you think, 25 pounds at least?
Oh man, I'd say more than, you've got two people holding it.
I get it, but I mean, they held it for 2 hours.
I'd say at least double that.
You think it was 50 pounds?
I think so.
I assumed it was 50 pounds.
There was no markings on it. It was a big one, but I just didn't know. Like, they didn't ever say that was the first part of it. You just had to hold it for two hours, and then, from there it turned into an eating challenge, which we haven't seen a lot of recently. And this reminded me of a more like old school approach to the challenge. Not like old school like in the first few seasons, but like when Jake and I started watching, like. You got to eat gross things in order to compete. And it was like, what was it? Ram's testicles and then like Arctic cheese juice.
Well, let me get Han's opinion here. Do you think that was Nom's testicles or not?
No, because his back was hurting.
Not his testicles.
No, just his back.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd already sent him out at that point. Those were Ram's testicles.
But they could have got him on the way out.
I don't think Nom has
testicles.
No, I was going to say like 20 testicles because they had to have about that many for all the teams. Maybe it's got clones out there or something. I don't know.
Hey, Ann, would you?
If he does, I need to know about it.
Would you have eaten those testicles for $1 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I can eat things. I'm not going to...
You're just not licking buttholes.
I'm not licking buttholes.
Yeah. Okay, so we get into the daily, and the 2 hours goes by. Like, everyone can do that, however much it weighed. And then goes to the eating part. Fessy, basically in a confessional, says, I want to throw this. I don't want to be partners... straight out. Don't want to be partners with Anissa. We all know that. Like, we know it. Like, he's very clear about that. It makes sense. He already left her once, and then she took him right back. Well,
it helped his case that Anissa didn't really want to eat any of that stuff either.
Yeah, but I'll get to him in a second. But they had basically got to eat all the entrees, is what they said, before you could get to the next part. It was testicles, and then I kept rewinding what they said, because CT said something else, and Hannah and I listened to it like 4 times.
I told you to just give up, because there's no way you were going to get it.
It sounded like you said fermented shark, which could be a possibility, or fermented... shrimp. The second word was the part that I didn't understand.
Because he talks like a caveman.
Well, he talks with that like really strong, grumbly, like Boston accent.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other thing they were eating was, if I'm being totally honest.
It was something fermented, and it wasn't great.
Yeah, and then they had the Arctic cheese juice, which Cory said actually made things a lot better. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, it could just be a difference in palates.
Yeah, I don't know what fermented cheese in a liquid form.
Juice.
Yeah, it seems very non-appetizing.
But it could be, like, because they're eating something else that is so raunchy and so gross that maybe the juice was the fermented juice. Maybe something there kind of like canceled something out from the food, or it like helped subdue the flavor of something else.
Well, if anything, it did not work for Cory, because Cory probably threw up more than anyone else.
Yeah, but he threw up.
Well, that was bad, wasn't it?
He threw up all over himself.
Cory, I made a note later on. Cory only threw up with his head tilted back, so it like goes up like a fountain and then rains down on top of him.
On his chest.
Yeah, and it's like, just bend over, man. Like, stop throwing up on yourself. It's weird.
It's like he's looking up at the sky like, here you go.
Yeah, it's really weird. So, Fessy again wants to throw it. He starts like fake vomiting, and it's like really obvious. He like puts it in his mouth, and he's like, oh, wow! And it's like, okay, you're not even trying. I think Anissa knew it. I think TJ knew it.
Everyone else knew that he was faking, because there were a few other confessionals where people were like, come on, you're not even trying to hide it at this point.
Yeah, he wasn't. I think maybe with like the testicle thing, like those probably don't have a lot of taste.
It's just dry.
And probably
it's
texture.
The texture.
The texture is probably what gets you. And I've never eaten them. Don't really plan to. We'll see what lies ahead in life. But I don't even remember who finished first. All I know is that Nani quit during the food thing.
Yeah, Kyle was really mad about it too.
Yeah, with Kyle, you never know. He lies about everything. He might.
No, but he was
mad.
he was really frustrated with her.
She did just straight up quit because she's like, I know Leroy and Casey and Cam and them are going to have my back and get me in, hopefully. Which it did work out for her.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Cam, I think she was probably banking on Cam too, but Cam noticed that she can't understand anything that CT says, and their chemistry was a little off. I think you said when we watched it last night that they're very strong personalities.
They do. They are both
butt
like,
heads.
I want to be the leader of this situation.
Yeah, and so in the midst of this eating thing, Cam's complaining about how she can't really understand what CT's saying, and CT started to wonder if he would have been better off with Big T in this.
I think that's a little overblown for the confessionals. Like, you got to be like, hey, just why don't you say that? Because there's no way. It doesn't matter. Like, you're still going to pick Cam.
Easy Zach.
Yeah. So Casey and Leroy were the first ones to finish their food. I'm going to call it food in a very loose term.
Mm-hmm.
It was food.
Casey did make the joke that that's the closest she's ever come to balls, because she very clearly has never, I guess, dated guys before. I don't know. She's made it very clear that
at least hasn't been intimate with guys.
I don't know, but she made the joke, and everyone's like, Casey. And Jake, you would appreciate that more than anybody, because you always say
she's showing personality.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think she got fantasy points for that?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't say anything about fantasy points.
I didn't even think about it.
You kind of riff on her saying she's super boring and bland.
I do.
She did compete well in this, and so they get done with that first, and then there's a math problem on the back, and Leroy and Casey are, I guess, not great at math, and so they get Cam to do their math problem from across the way. Like, she's like a couple cages over, I guess. And she does it. She's kind of like using her finger to like write out on the table, and she figures it out. Now, I do know from enough challenge interviews and behind the scenes things, they don't do the is it PEMDAS or PEMDAS or whatever
PEMDAS.
The order of operations. They don't do that. Basically, you just do it in sequential order, left to right. It makes it a lot easier that way. And so, I think they feel like if you have to do the order of operations and the correct things, like, they're going to be there forever, and people are going to time out. So. I think actually Fessy might have said that to us whenever we interviewed him. He said it at some point.
I don't remember that. Gabby, I want to say, I was pretty impressed with her in this, because she was the one that was really throwing down in that food and pushing Cory to keep going.
Yeah, and they they get going and they get to their math problem, and then Fessy does their math for them from his,
Actually, it was Anissa, wasn't it?
No, it's Fessy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was Anissa.
No, it was Fessy, and Fessy, he remember in last year in like the day one challenge, there was a big math problem on that minefield, and he was the first one to knock it out and get out of there.
That's right.
And so he that's what was interesting is like Cam and Fessy were the ones doing the math for the teams in first and second place. And like other teams, like they didn't even look like they got even that far into it, and then Casey and Leroy just won. Like there was other steps to it, like obviously they ended up they had to solve a riddle and they had to scratch a blackboard, and
for what could have been such a cool challenge,
it was a letdown.
Well,
only
two dud.
Yeah, only two teams like at this point you had so many alliances and a lot of people had gold skulls that like there wasn't that drive to like really
compete.
Yeah, so like you had the really hungry teams other than Leroy and Casey, although they're sitting pretty, but they know they want to help Nani. Like that's a big byline in this is they want to get Nani her chance.
Well, TJ made it a point to thank Cory, Gabby, and CT for actually trying, and then called out everybody else for basically giving up.
Yeah, in our Slack group, our statman Paul, he said he's really tired of dailies not really counting as far as towards penalties and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like the seasons where whoever does the worst in the dailies,
you're
they're
automatically
up for elimination.
Yeah.
I like that format.
I think you need to bring that back.
I do
so
too. Like that's the number one team that's going in is whoever just does the worst.
Because the dailies have lost their luster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of that.
I agree because yeah, like what happens tonight? Like Nani's like, oh, I'm going to quit because my alliance is going to throw me in. You had Fessy like not caring because he wants to be off of Anissa, and he knows if they do win, then
he can't get taken.
Yeah, and so I do like the format of you have to at least try in the daily, otherwise you're automatically going into elimination. It doesn't matter if you have a skull or not.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring that back.
I hope they do
after this.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, TJ makes a big deal about it on television, right? But, like...
But it's been a lot this season.
I would venture to say, even privately, he's like, dude, these guys ain't even trying, like...
Well, and
it's not making good TV.
If you're a producer and stuff, and you're like, hey, we spent all this money to, like, do these very elaborate stunts where you're, like, flying a helicopter over a lake and people are hanging on and then no one's moving.
Again, what could have been another really cool daily and just nothing.
Yeah, I hope they bring something back like that where you're penalized or, because we've had over the years people have thrown challenge like dailies and stuff like that to like get an advantage of some sort, but like just not even at all trying and like making it very obvious. It is annoying.
I did kind of like this challenge. However, I wish it had been better in a way. I think because I had a lot of ideas. Like they could have gone in several different directions with this, with the flickering lights, with the noises. I think it would have been interesting, maybe more of like a Total Madness kind of feel to have like, I don't know, maybe like stunt people dressed up in like scary costumes and like just.
So you wanted to turn it into like a haunted house.
Kind of because it's late at night. Have them there for a couple hours holding up the medicine ball. Somebody jumps out and scares you. Oh, some of these people might be like jumpy when they're scared. They drop the medicine ball. Oh, they're out. Or, like they've been hallucinating and the noises are so loud they can't think straight, so they can't figure out the math equation because they need it quiet. Or,
I do think they dialed that up later. Like it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying like they should have done that. Like have people jump out and scare them and like mess with their minds so that it's harder to complete the different phases of this challenge.
Well, according to you, Han, all they'd need is Zach walking around in there and that'd scare the hell out of them.
Yeah. That's it. Just don't announce where you're at all times. But also you're screwed because if you do announce, then that's scary too.
Just set up a bathroom somewhere in there and let him walk out of it. And they never know.
Leave me alone.
So again, Casey and Leroy win. I think the last thing they had to do was they had files that they had to cut through some wire. Which she said they're nail files. They weren't nail files. They were like files that you do with like woodworking or metalworking and stuff.
What are those called?
Files.
No, but is there a certain word for them?
I mean, there's just files, and I mean that's what they had.
There's a file cabinet.
yeah, I mean, there are other things that remove, but those are like rasps and stuff, but that's not the same type of thing. But yeah, Casey and Leroy win. They get back to the house. It's 5 a.m, and then we are greeted with a very strange security camera makeout area with Gabby and Fessy.
Did they hook up?
No.
What?
Or was it
What's your terms of hooking up?
doing things that married people do?
Get divorced.
Okay.
Jake's
All right.
here.
That was not nice.
Shout out to my ex-wife. Hope she's doing well.
No, like again, they were making out somewhat. I didn't
know if that was just like the extent of it.
We haven't had much like challenge romance in this season.
There's not been like anything. It's been Fessy and Gabby, and that's it.
If they ain't doing it, don't show me any security cam footage. Fair?
You're gonna have to say that again. Say that again.
If they ain't doing it, don't show me any security cam footage.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Well, I mean, because we have had seasons where like things happen and it's like very obvious, and I don't really think anything happened here. Also, shout out to our friend Alan Aguirre, who writes for Medium about the challenge, because they did the thing about Fessy, is he going to be with Tori or is he going to be with Gabby? And he's like, oh, just by the way, all of them had significant others back at home while they were filming this. And you know what? I'm not one to fact check, but Alan's a guy who knows his stuff, so I'm going to believe him on that.
Yeah, because I was really surprised because I thought on like the first episode of this season that Fessy came in saying he was excited to be coming into a season single. Single and ready to mingle.
You know what would have not surprised me, in all honesty, is if they were still together and then he comes on the show and he just is like, I'm single now. And then he was hoping that like when she saw it, then that would just end the relationship, because in his mind it's over. We've had things like that happen where people are in relationships but then they get on shows and they're like, no, I'm not. Like Bear, for one, does
Bear did that.
I'm not saying Fessy is Bear. No one in the world is quite Bear. Again, shout out to what's her name? From
Kayla.
Not Kayla. Georgia, who is suing Bear, rightfully so.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so if what he did, if what she says he did was true, then he is a very terrible person.
Yeah, God bless Alan, by the way.
Yeah, Alan didn't do anything bad. We met Alan in Nashville. He was a lot of fun to hang out with. But the next morning, Cory's talking with Fessy, and he brings up Tori and Gabby. And he's like, which one? If they were both here,
he's like, if they were both in the same house, what'd you do? What would you do?
And you know what? God bless Cory, because we know
what he'd do.
We know that we've had seasons where he's hooked up with three different people.
Yeah, Anissa being one of them.
Anissa, Camilla, and Kayla, all in the same season. And so he's been in that situation. He knows how it goes.
I bet you he uses the word a lot in text.
Okay.
Did that not land?
I don't get the meaning behind that.
Oh, Camilla, Anissa, Kayla.
Is that what that meant?
Yes, Zach.
Man, I did not put that together at all.
It took me a minute. Well, it was interesting that Cory, in the middle of this conversation, mentioned how he heard through the grapevine that Tori and Jordyn weren't doing so great as of recent, like at the time of filming. And that he thought that Tori and Jordyn were about to call it quits, and then Fessy would swoop in and date Tori for about a year, and they'd escape to Mexico and
shout
live
out
happily ever
to
after.
Corey for the foresight on that situation,
because that's kind of what happened.
Supposedly, Fessy and Tori are together. We'll see.
Secretly, maybe.
I don't know. Again, I don't follow it that closely. Before we go any further, we're going to take a quick break. We're back, and we gotta get into the Bubble Club. Not a whole lot happened in the Bubble Club this week.
Not a whole lot happened this episode, to be quite frank.
It's an hour long. It's an hour long episode. Which
I have one note from the dome.
Well, it's not the dome. I forgot that it was only going to be an hour this week, and so I was wondering if it's going to be an hour going forward. But Greg in our Slack group said that actually all the rest of the episodes on the DVRs are showing at an hour and a half again. So he thinks they were just resetting the format because remember we got that cliffhanger, and then we got to where it led up to daily, and then it cut off, and then we started with the daily. So he thinks it was getting it back to like the format we're used to, and then which you know what I would almost rather they do that than to like give us another 22 minutes of something that's not important.
Yeah.
That we have to talk about, and it's like, oh man, can you believe Nani wanted to take a shower and someone was in there first? Like, we don't need to talk about stuff like
That's
that.
a bizarre scene.
Yeah, which did not happen. So we get to the Bubble Club. I have one thing. Cam strategizes with Nani. That's the only thing that happened in the club to me.
My note was Nani tells Cam and Amber she wants to go in.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Jake.
it.
Yeah, Nani's ready to get her gold skull.
Yeah, we nothing happened
it.
in the Bubble. That's the least exciting Bubble Club we've had all season.
Dome.
It's the Bubble Club, and so we get to the deliberation.
Gabby and Nani basically say, "Hey, we want to go in."
Well, Nani brings it up, and then they both want to go in, and the game's kind of changed because, like, Lolo. No one wanted to. Obviously, she's Olympian. They don't want to go against her. They don't want to face her in the final. It ultimately caused her to break down and leave the show.
She quit.
But this one, like, Nani's like, I want to go in, but my friends are going to put me in anyway, so just vote Gabby. And it's like, that's a very weird strategy. And then Darrell is like, well, if you guys win, are you going to change partners? And then it got real weird because neither one of them wanted to say that they weren't or were.
Yeah. I mean, Gabby was a little more convincing than Nani.
They both said, well, I don't know.
I know, but Nani was like super obvious about it.
Well, Nani's got to honor dead Josh's wishes. And,
Right. That's the most important thing here.
Yeah, is to carry out his final wish and spread his ashes over the crater while she picks Fessy because that's what he would want.
Here's a question I pose to you. Who is more alive at this very moment, Mama Kim or Josh?
In regards to like Nani,
Yes.
well then it's Mama Kim. Even
Mama
though I'm
Kim.
not sure they ever did a season together, just because Josh has died and it is a period of mourning.
Right.
And how can you carry on? It's literally like she was married, and right before they died, he's like, "I want you to go marry this other guy," and like that's his
my
last
friend
wish.
who will take care of you.
Yeah, that's the last wish.
Well, hold on. Before we go any further, I think we would really be doing Josh and everyone in the house that was affected by this untimely scenario with just a quick moment of silence. So let's just pause for a second.
I was looking at the time code because I almost was going to put an ad break in right there.
Oh, you should do it. Do you know how funny that would be?
we just did one like 4 minutes ago.
No, it's okay. It'd be so funny.
Oh, Zach, please do that.
It would have been funny because I don't know what our ads are like right now. I don't know what's running currently, and also it changes based on where you download
Oh my gosh,
from.
do it. Do you know how funny that
But
would
it could have been like, let's take a moment of silence and be like, "What's up? You ready to eat McDonald's?"
Oh, we should totally do that.
Please,
Like
please.
cut what we're doing out
Cut
right
this.
here. Cut it out. And Zach, that is perfect.
I don't know if I'm going to cut this part out, but again, they'll kind of get it.
No, it needs to be cut. It needs to be cut.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to do that. They can hear the behind the scenes on all that. I may insert it in. It'll depend on how many ad breaks we need to do for this episode because it varies depending on how long the episode actually is. So,
But a break's going right there.
I'll look. What I may do is instead of doing a double ad at 34 or whatever, I'll do a single there and then a single at 38.
Well, if this is all left in, a little behind the scenes work of smashing
it's going to be left in. I'm
Yeah.
not editing all this out.
Anyway, so after this, Fessy tells Cory basically he doesn't think it's fair that he's stuck with Anissa, especially leading up to the final. He doesn't think that she's ready for the final. He thinks that she's going to hold him back, basically.
I do agree with that.
And Cory agreed to an extent. He said, she can't handle this final.
I agree with what he's saying, but I don't agree that it's not fair. It's fully within the realm of the game.
Yes.
Like it is fair. She picked him fairly. Like she did what she had to do. And so I don't agree that it's not fair. I get that he's like, oh, it's not fair because he'd probably be like, oh man, karma, and which he did say again in this episode.
Well, in the meantime, while that conversation's going on, Anissa is with Nany, and she's crying to Nany because she thinks that Fessy is trying to get rid of her.
He is.
She put together that he was throwing the daily.
Because he's a bad actor.
And then, he is a bad actor. And then she specifically asks Nany if she wins this elimination to take anyone but Fessy.
Well, so she didn't say it quite like that, because I thought that's what she was saying. And then she said...
Do what you got to do.
She said, do what you got to do, but don't blindside me. And so that could... And at first I was like, oh, she doesn't want her to take Fessy, which I get. But then that's like, you could also interpret that as, well, just give me a heads up if you're going to do this.
But in that conversation, she did say, take anybody else, but don't take Fessy.
But then at the end is when she said, I mean, from what we saw, she said that. And then at the actual elimination, she looks at Nany and says, like, do what you got to do. And, like, again, Anissa gets, like, the realm of the game. Like, she does understand,
it's
like,
a game.
It sucks for her, but, like, it's part of it. It's you know,
part of
the
winning
way
$1 million.
she got Fessy is the way that Nany's going to get Fessy.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, you know, all of this, like, Nany was kind of responding like she didn't want to have this conversation because she didn't want to make any promises that she wouldn't fulfill. But also, then I couldn't help but remember Josh would want Nany to take Fessy.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's ultimately
that's what he said before he passed.
Also, do you guys remember last season when Nany got super drunk and threw a cup of noodles at Anissa and they got in this weird fight? And
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
She did do that.
Again, drunk Nany is a different thing, which we haven't seen.
We haven't seen at all.
And you know what? I haven't seen... Other than Devin and Josh, I really don't remember anyone else like getting into it over stuff like that.
We've had no hookups and no drunk fights.
Yeah. So we get to the crater, and the votes for I was about to say Gabin and Debbie, but the vote is for Gabby and Cory, because Cory's had 100 partners at this point. It's hard to keep track of who he's with. And so they go down, and then TJ asks if whoever wants to go down, and they're like, no, we're going to throw in Nany. She's pumped about it, not how Josh like would have been like, I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah.
And
it was at this point that I realized all 4 individuals standing in the crater were on my fantasy team.
Well, that's just statistics at this point. Like, you have so many more players than Jake or I
know,
do.
but they were also all partnered together.
Yeah. The
Did
thing
she
is,
lose? Was Gabby on Han's team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the day of reckoning is coming, Han.
Well,
It came last week.
Kind of, because she also has Nany, so Nany's going to kind of like balance that out. But yeah, the TJ does the thing where he's like, oh, you never know what's going to happen. And so Kyle's freaking out because he's going to have to go against Cory. Cory's fine because he needs a skull. And
Kyle has one for him to take.
Yeah, but it's not that. There's an open female skull left, and so it makes sense to just have them go against each other. I thought this elimination was going to be the same one that we saw Teresa and Casey do. Because I saw the polls on the end, so I was like, oh, it's going to be that, but with a twist, because they've been doing the same eliminations, but with a twist the second time around. But this one was reminiscent to... what was that one from, may have been Vendettas or something, where it was like Derek and Joss and then Melissa and I think Sylvia. And it's the same type of thing. There's something hanging in the middle. You got to retrieve it and then like fight for it.
Except they did it in the mud.
Well, I think it was raining or something. It may have been in something like that. But this was in like the black sand.
If it was raining in dirt, then that would make mud.
Well, they're in black sand where they're at right now.
Yeah, now I was talking about Joss and Derek.
Black sand make for a cool backyard, wouldn't it?
Sure.
You gonna turn your backyard into black sand?
No, but y'all got a fire pit. That'd look real good up against that fire.
Okay. Well, this one's called Ring of Spies, and it's an elimination we've seen a sort of before. There's a ring hanging in the middle. You got to run from the sides and then retrieve it, and then get it back to your end, and basically like ring it, like put it on the pole, and the best 2 out of 3 wins, and you do whatever you can to stop the other person from getting to their side. I like eliminations like this. I liked the format of it, and I like that it's not like a one-off. Like you got a chance to like defend yourself. And if it would have been a one-off, then Gabby would have won. But Jake, I made a note. Can you look something up for me?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Nany's like really freaking out about losing a lot of eliminations, and so I was like, what is Nany's elimination record at this point? Not counting last night.
And when is the last time she won an
that
elimination?
I made that note later. When was her last win?
Because she said it's been so long.
Yeah.
And I was like, has it really been that long?
She did. It may have been her and Bananas together the last time she won on like X's 2.
Really? That was a
She's
long
not
time
good at eliminations, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long time since she won.
Can you say that again?
So,
you cut out a little bit.
it's definitely been a long time since she won an elimination. So, what do you want first?
What is her overall elimination record?
So I'm gonna give it what should be prior to last night.
Mm-hmm.
After last night, after last night, she's been in 13 eliminations. And she has 4 wins and 9 losses. So that means before last night, she had 3 wins and 9 losses. Now her,
so she basically wins 25% of the ones she does.
Now her last elimination win. Sit tight. Okay, so all right, she won against Gabby. She lost to Melissa in Total Madness.
Yep.
She lost to Ashley in War of the Worlds 2.
Okay.
She lost to Georgia in War of the Worlds.
That's not a good. That's not a good loss.
Okay, here's her. She got 2 elimination wins on Rivals 3 with Wes.
Okay, so it was a partner elimination.
She lost there. They beat Jamie and Kellyanne and Nate and Christina. Now, her last solo.
Has she ever had one?
So she lost to Kellyanne on Battle of the Bloodlines.
She lost to Teresa on X's 2.
Hold on, let's see. This is still all partner stuff. Yeah. She's never won a solo elimination.
That's what I was wondering.
Wow.
If all of her elimination wins were all partner wins. So tonight is a historic night for her.
Yeah.
Her like legacy, I guess. It's her first solo elimination win.
And she cried a lot immediately after. And
maybe that
Makes
was
sense.
why.
Yeah.
It makes more sense now.
Like her wins, 2 of them were with Wes, who like wins a lot of the eliminations he's in. Had the most winning season of eliminations. I wrote Nani's, but it autocorrected to Baby's because I was like, "What's Baby's elimination record?" So we get into the actual elimination, and Gabby, she wins round 1. She gets to the ring first and kind of like jukes her way around, and they put up a good fight.
This was the women's elimination that we wanted to see in the 2 Ambers that apparently had it out for each other, but then they didn't even want to put up a fight.
No, Amber M wasn't
going to be anything competitive.
But
in
Big
any
Amber
scenario.
didn't do anything either.
She won. She beat her.
I know, but she didn't really do anything.
I didn't want to see an Amber versus Amber elimination.
Any elimination.
But that's the thing. Like a women's elimination, I want to actually see them put their hands on each other like the guys do.
Well, they had Hall Brawl. That's their fault for not doing it. That was the thing with the Ambers is like they had a physical elimination.
I know, and they didn't give it to us.
Well, then why do you want to give them another one?
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
I wanted them to take advantage of the opportunity to have a physical fight, like Donnie and Gabby did. Nani.
We know a Donnie. He's not involved in this.
But that's just the problem with the 2 Ambers, especially Amber M, is I don't think they're ever going to give you anything physical.
No.
I know, and it was very disappointing, but my whole point was what we got in this elimination tonight was what I wanted to see in other female eliminations.
Yeah,
I want to see them put in the effort.
Yeah, they both like put in a good effort on both sides.
But here's what I'll post to you, Han, is maybe that was their best effort.
If so, then that's really pathetic.
I think with Amber M especially, that might have been her best effort. I don't know what she's got in the tank necessarily. Like, she's for sure the smallest girl out there. And, Amber M, she won, but it wasn't as bad as Josh beating Michi. That's the worst elimination of the season by far. Like, the most pathetic on both sides.
Yeah, but I think Josh actually tried.
They both were trying. That's the thing.
Which further proves my point. Yeah.
I didn't think that the two Ambers really tried.
I think they did.
Because they were just like, oh, it's my turn to come through the hall. I'll just let you go.
I just think Amber M's just not going to give you anything. And it's just like, you could have gave her a pole wrestle, and she would have just been like, I fell. It's over.
Don't come on the show then.
I agree. And
God.
so, Nani wins round 2. Again, it's a good fight.
It's a great fight.
They get into it. Nani, at one point gets on top and like uses her knee on her head, and it's like, hey, as long as
that's not against the rules.
Yeah, as long as it's within the guidelines, like you're allowed to do it. Like no one was like being like, oh, I can't believe she did that.
No.
And so, Nani got that one, and then in the third one, I'm not a Bon Jovi fan, but that song worked there.
Oh man, yeah.
It worked there. They did a lot of 80s music in this season, but that one did work. And, she jumps and she grabs it, and then she just puts the juke move on. She's like, she
faked her out.
She hit those sticks in Madden, and she's whoa, whoa, and then went the other way. And it's a good win for Nani. Like, it just is. It puts her in a very strategic place going forward because, again, you have a lot of people who don't want to go into eliminations anymore because they have gold skulls, so it's less likely that someone will go in to go after whoever you pick, which she picks Fessy. We go into she wins, she cries a lot. I get it. Like, I do get this. Like, we've seen other people that have cried over eliminations, and it's like, okay, let's go.
Josh.
But hers...
Yeah.
Nani's was well-earned, well-deserved. It was totally fine for her to cry over this.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it because, like what we've seen, like, she's had years of just, like, not making it. And she can't get past that wall. And then she went up, and they both fought. And, like, it wasn't like Amber, like, laid down and, like, let her take it. Like, Gabby put up a fight. And so,
I didn't think she was bad. I think she's... I wouldn't be upset if she got a call back.
I wouldn't either.
No, I wouldn't either. I still don't think she's like a great cast, but like I'm if she's back next season, I get it.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I get it.
I will say, good on Gabby. She cried also at the end of this, but she said that she was crying good tears, and she was really like thankful and grateful for the experience that she had on the show. And my big note on that was, what a good sport.
Yeah, like I have no problem with how she handled things, how she competed. She wanted to go in, she wanted to prove it, and so like Amber never wanted to go in. She just was like, it's not our week yet. Let's not throw me in. And she just wanted to hang out and cause drama. Like I think Gabby did want to compete, and so again, we've talked this casting for the rookies has been rough in retrospect.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind if Gabby's back. Just because like she had some decent storylines, even if they were in whatever was happening with Fessy, and she tried, like she competed in all the dailies, she never quit, and
she
then
won a few dailies.
Yeah, and then she she tried in her elimination. She wanted to go down, and I think Nani still would be favored, even though her elimination record's not good, just because she's at least done eliminations before.
Yeah, this was Gabby's first one-on-one in the challenge ever.
I'm surprised Nani didn't say, Josh told me before he went into elimination that, I know what it takes to win because I've lost so many of them. That was
and no call back to Josh at all. I mean, for a guy who I
was
lost.
Surprised.
Yeah,
I thought she would say something.
I think
about
she,
it.
there's the stages of grief. There's the different things. I think she's on the acceptance and then moved on,
or maybe
she's
denial
moved on to Fessy.
It could be denial. She could be in the denial stage. Maybe that's what it didn't happen. He's still back at the house. He's going to be my partner later. So yeah, she gets in there. She takes Fessy.
Cory's lost another partner.
Of course. I mean, that's like this is really a crazy run of partners for him. So TJ asks if she's gonna stick with Kyle. He makes this big cheesy grin, and then Cory's like, "Hey, I'm here," and like, no chance. And then she takes Fessy.
Fessy's really happy about it.
More so happy. I don't know if he's like stoked that it's Nany, but he's definitely more stoked that it's Nany than Anissa. I think he's just stoked
that he's not with Anissa.
He clearly doesn't want to be with Anissa anymore.
And like he didn't try to hide it either.
No,
he didn't try to hide it.
He didn't try to hide it, and then Kyle for sure didn't try to hide it.
Yeah. Okay. So Anissa chose Kyle over Cory, which kind of surprised me because like we talked about that. Anissa and Cory had a hookup. That's one season, but also they have a really tight friendship.
So
like, they're really good friends, and so I thought since she was close with Cory, she'd pick him because we know in a few confessionals, Anissa does not trust Kyle in the least bit.
So for me, the way I kind of thought about it was, one, Cory can't keep a partner, and it's just a joke at this point. Two, Kyle's shown he can compete. He can make a final. He can keep up with it. But then also, Cory doesn't have a gold skull at this point, and he's going to have to put himself down there. And there could be a chance that it could be a double elimination where it's like guys and girls versus each other. Anissa doesn't want to risk that at all. Kyle's got a skull already. You don't want to, possibly risk going down. Kyle's, to me, is the safer bet because what happens if you have a skull and your partner doesn't? Like, what happens going forward? I'm assuming the person with the skull gets to compete, but it also wouldn't surprise me if it's like, all right, well, since the teams don't have two skulls, we're going to make both of these teams do an elimination to see who can go on to the final. And so I don't have a problem with her picking Kyle. Kyle had a big problem with it.
Yeah, he was visibly upset because...
Yeah, and verbally, he said it.
Like... She laughed about how she wasn't going to take Cory because he's cursed, but Kyle, like they zoomed in on his face, and he was the only person not laughing. Very not happy face, super depressed, and then she ran up to him, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Anissa."
Well, you went from Cam to Nany, and then from Nany to Anissa. And, like, again, he knows what it takes to run one of these finals. And, like, going from Cam to anyone is enough of a blow. And then going even further down, like, in the people who can compete in the final, like, it just is what it is at this point. And there's nothing against Anissa as a person or, anything like that. I think she would, if she was being honest with herself, she knows that's why Fessy was wanting out.
Well, anyway, since Anissa chose... Kyle, that leaves Big T with Cory, to which
so that means Big T's gone next week.
My remaining question was: is Big T about to leave?
If trends continue, yes, because Cory's he's gonna
throw himself in.
Yeah, he wants in. He wants in at a chance to go get a skull. So either they got to win a daily and throw themselves in, or get the mercy of the house to vote them in. But if you're one of the guys that already has a skull, like I don't know if you want to give Cory a chance. But then what? Like I don't know. It's got to be a guy's elimination next week, right? Should be.
Surely.
Or a dual elimination.
It could be. It could be a dual elimination. Which again is why Anissa, may want to stick with someone who had a skull. I don't know. Like it's Cory and Big T were the last note that I had for this week. Again, it was an hour-long episode, and
I don't know if you guys forgot I had a tease at the top of the episode.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to jump in. I didn't know when you wanted to do it.
Now's a good time.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask, I don't ask for this a lot, but I'm about to go in, and I would like zero interruptions in making my point, because I want people to understand. So, again, the Big TCT scenario last week, and the downright outpouring of just craziness that took place as a result. Is why I am bringing this up. Because one thing we have made it a point not to do on this show is to go after people's character, right? Because we don't know these people. Everything we talk about is always within the context of the game, right? who are we to say that this person's an awful human being or that person is just a snake or low down? Now, sure, some of you people listening maybe want to bring up something that happened like with the Bear in Georgia scenario. Great. That's awful, and that's dirty, and it's low down, but we are talking about game context here, all right? And my opinion of the situation, partnered with many people's outright, attacking of CT's character at this point, is what kind of stirred me up. Now, I went on Twitter to voice my opinion a little bit, and one particular thing I pointed out, and again, I said this at the top. If you're a Big T fan, great. I have nothing to say about that. We have people that we enjoy watching more than others, right? Big T is low on our list. Fair?
I can't respond.
Oh, that's right. You can't. I didn't ask you anything. You're not here.
Move my mic away from my house.
You're not here.
My house.
So
from my mouth.
So anyway, one of the points I made was that if we just want to talk about this season alone, we have already seen worse happen to different individuals in the house than CT simply celebrating a win and getting the best girl in the house on his team now. We have seen, and we like Devin, we have seen Devin outright just bully Josh. Right? Fair? Outright bully this guy. Nobody said a word. We saw Devin blatantly tell Gabby, you cannot go get your skull. I would classify that as more disrespectful than what we saw last week. Now, I told you guys that the girl I'm seeing, Emily, we'll call her Emily, that's her name. She started watching this last week. We watched episode 1 on the way to Memphis, and we watched episode 2 tonight, and it was almost as if karma was involved. Or, if you believe in the good Lord above, it's as if he was throwing me a bone. Because the funniest thing happened in episode 2 of this season, and it directly involved Big T. And I'm about to call out every single stand in the totally most playful way, but the most real way too, because to attack someone's character and then not apply it to anyone else when they do it too is hypocritical, and it's not okay. All right, so here's what happened in episode 2, just to give everyone a refresher. You can go back and watch the episode, do whatever you want to do, all right? But in case you guys forgot, there was a Mustard Joseph that was on this show. I think it's the only thing people remember him for is the mustard incident, all right? And he was partners with Big T, all right? So he goes into elimination in this episode against Kyle, right? So Kyle wins. This is when Kyle had lied about who he'd voted for, right? And Fessy, he was blindsided, okay? Now, this whole episode, Big T is, Joseph's being weird, and Big T's just wanting another partner, right? She's talking about it in her confessionals and everything, okay? Joseph loses, and Big T is jumping around, shouting, smiling, celebrating, arguably doing the same exact thing CT was doing last week. And he's going home. He's done. He's out of the game, and she is celebrating, losing his mind. All right? Now, we saw Big T last week get her feelings hurt real bad. I'm not going to speak on that. We've said that we don't really, you and I, Zach, have said we don't really think she belongs on this show. It's a whole different topic. I have no issue with how she responded, and that people are different, right? People are going to respond different ways. There was they do these little segments I watch it on Philo, and they've got the portions of this show where before they show the preview, they do like a little bonus segment of the person that got eliminated. And we got Joseph over here, class act, like, man, I wish nothing but the best for Big T. I hope she goes all the way to the final. Just super classy about it, right? My point being is that, and I made this point about last week, that if that was Gabby that CT celebrated about not being her, and now I'm going to eat my words because I don't think that's why he was celebrating. I made that point that, I don't think his celebration was about not being with Big T. I think it was about getting his gold skull, which he thought he wasn't going to get, as well as getting Cam as his partner.
And
but one of my
could run the final.
Yeah. But one of my points was, if that was Gabby instead of Big T down there last week, nobody cares. Nobody says a word. There's no uproar on Twitter. Nobody's coming for CT's character because it's Gabby. Who cares? But here we are this week, and now, on top of what Big T did 11 episodes ago, now you've got Kyle. You want to talk about disrespect? Kyle reacting the way he did over Anissa, that was disrespectful. There was no hiding that. He audibly and visibly was annoyed that Anissa was now his partner, and he wanted to make sure that she knew it. Now, you guys may can prove me wrong. I ain't seen a whole lot about that. I don't see anybody.
I haven't been on.
But you get my point. You get my point. Nobody's saying anything about that. I'm sure my girl Keri, patron Keri, didn't like that. I would like for Keri to speak up in the Slack group after she hears this part. I'm sticking up for your girl Anissa. But this is when I call it weird fandom, right? Because for whatever reason, we've applied celebratory actions done in the presence of Big T's just wrong. But Big T can do it over her partner going home, and everything's fine. So here's the thing, like, it's one thing to bring up topics on the show. It's one thing to talk about the craziness of the show. But to start, like, attacking people, to start attacking people's character, their actions when not done in any sort of wrong manner, all because it's done to this person, is just weird. And I'm just going to say it. You guys are hypocrites for this. Like, it is weird. It's crazy. It's bizarre. It's the same reason we get on car stands about this stuff, right? It's just weird, man. So before you guys want to come at a guy like it's weird, right? I don't want to feel like I'm defending a guy I don't even know. I'm not defending anybody. So before anybody wants to peg me as some sort of, I don't know, CT defender, like I'm about to start a Twitter account. This is more so about just like the madness and the stir people get turned into over said competitor because, you know, put whatever guy in that position, CT, Kyle, Darrell, whoever, I don't care, but because they celebrated and it was their person, Big T, that was celebrated around, like, she did the same exact thing 11 episodes ago. And the fact of the matter is, we've got someone we've communicated with on Twitter who even dropped in my DMs and said, you know what a lot of this is? It's Big T fandom. That's what it is. And I said, I responded back, I was like, you couldn't have said it better. That's what this is. So my point being, hey, we're glad you guys are listening, but check yourselves, man. Like, this is madness. It's goofy. It's goofy. Nobody said a word. So if you're going to apply it to one person, why don't you apply it to the whole rest of the cast, man? This is goofy. Goofy. I'm done.
So, yeah, I do think part of it is, like we talked about, a lot of people have just grown to really like Big T this season, just seeing her over however many episodes. When you brought it up just before we started recording, I was just like, I don't know. I don't remember what happened in episode 2 because we watch it one time and then we talk, and we've talked and watched so much since then that I don't remember. The thing is, probably what happened. So episode 2, Big T would have been on 3 total episodes at that point of the challenge. I mean, it's 3 before this season. Like she didn't last long. It was actually a little bit more than that. She was gone on like episode 2 of the first season she was on, and then she got hurt and was gone after a few episodes of War of the Worlds. But I mean, not War of the Worlds, but Total Madness. But yeah, I think it is people just grew to watch her and like her and get to know her a lot more just as a person, and so it is interesting that she actually was openly celebrating someone going home, not just changing partners.
Yes.
And
right there, as soon as he was beat, she was jumping up and down with Nani.
Yeah, which is that's I didn't remember it because, again, I'm not going to go back and watch. I think it's just people like Big T, and that's fine.
That is fine. It's totally fine.
I think the one thing you got to remember, no matter what happens on the show, is a couple things. One is they are not in the real world. They are in a false reality at this point. Like, it is its own world with its own ecosystem, its own set of rules. Like, it's there's no entertainment. Like, they're being filmed 24/7. If you were filmed at your worst at all times, we would all look awful.
But again, my point is to just call into question the character of these people because of a game move.
That's what I'm getting to. You got to remember that, and then also remember it is an edited show that we don't see everything about what happened and all that. So you got to take that with a grain of salt.
And here's what I think will be a revelation for a lot of people. This whatever mission that people have made for themselves to just totally go to bat for these people, they don't care.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part,
they don't care.
They like their fans. They like people.
Yeah, no. I'm sure they do.
They don't need you to defend them.
No.
If you're on reality TV in 2020, 2021, you don't need someone to go to bat for you. You kind of know what you are. At this point.
Not random Betty down in Oklahoma. No, they don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I did think that was interesting, kind of going into it because I had completely forgotten about it. Because honestly, the only thing I remember about Joseph is that he was a singer and that he licked mustard, and then him and Leo and Jeyyy made the challenge anthem for some reason, even though none of them have any notoriety other than Jeyyy beat CT last year. So let's get into the superlatives for this episode. Does anybody want to go first? Who smashed some heads?
I did. I just smashed some heads. I'm giving it to me this week.
I don't think that's allowed.
I'm doing it.
Okay, Hannah, what's yours?
Gabby, because one, she ate all the food, ate every bit of that food, and pushed Cory to eat his part. She didn't give up. Also, she put up a fight in the elimination.
I'm going to give it to Nani. First solo win.
I didn't know it was her first solo win. I didn't know it was her first solo win.
Well, not even that, but just the fact that we know she hasn't won in a long time. So I think it's cathartic at this point just to have her win and get that offer back. So I'll give it to her for this week. Jake, who got their head smashed?
Can I give it to Joseph?
If you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Joseph because he didn't get the love. He didn't get the love that everybody gave to Big T after someone celebrated, and so I'm gonna show love to Mustard Joseph.
Okay.
Wait, was that who got his head? He got his head smashed.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
Anissa by Nani stealing Fessy.
Trying to think on this one.
You have to think about what I said?
No, I'm just trying to think of who I would go with on this. Because I don't feel like Gabby did, if I'm being honest. Because she put up a fight. She wanted to go in. Mm-hmm. It's a gamble. You either got to go in and get a skull or go home. You know what? I think it is Kyle because he was devastated.
Yeah.
And he it's like a little kid that doesn't know how to lie yet, and you can tell right away. He just could not hide any emotion that he had, and Kyle got his head smashed for sure. Jake, what's your song of the week before we get into the fantasy stuff?
Man, I found this sick group called Normandy this week, and this song I've been putting on repeat. It's called Atmosphere. I think this album just released too. I'd say within the last month. Just a really pretty song, man. It's a lot of piano. It's very atmospheric, believe it or not. But band is Normandy.
Maybe that's where they got the name from.
Yeah, band is Normandy. Song is called Atmosphere.
Are they a World War II inspired band?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Are you ready for me?
Hers is going to be Kings Leon's new album, and it's not.
I think you'd like this group. By the way, I'm gonna send them to you.
I've heard of them. Go ahead and send it.
Are you sure you haven't heard of the beaches of Normandy that they stormed in World War II, which is what I was talking about?
Yeah, I got your joke. I don't know if Jake did.
Jake doesn't get jokes.
Anyway, my song of the week is Claire and Eddie from Kings of Leon's new album. About 3-4 days before they released the album, leading up to the release, they were posting little clips, 30-second clips with snippets of each new song. And I think it was day 3 or day 4 until the release, they posted a video with a part of this song on it. And I said, ooh, that's the one I need to find on the album, because it was really good. I really like it. This album, it was a little bit of a letdown. It's not what I wanted it to be. It's more chill, laid back vibes.
Yeah, we listened to it when we were driving around Memphis, and I was like, if you would have told me this was their last 3 albums, I would have thought it was. Like,
no, it's no Come Around Sundown, and it's no Mechanical Bull, but it's okay. But
well,
I really like this song a lot.
And let's be honest, it ain't no Avett Brothers either. Am I right?
Yeah, it's not the Avett Brothers, man.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm sticking with my Japanese trend. But I'm not going with a gimmicky band. I'm going with a band that I actually have listened to for going on like 15 years now. And it's a band called Envy. And the song is Chain Wandering Deeply. Is Wandering, Wandering. They're just really good, really atmospheric, like Jake said. I think you've listened to this band before. I don't know if you actively listen to them, but I really do love them a lot, everything that they've done. They did a split with Thursday a few years ago that I really liked. So that's mine, Envy, Chain Wandering Deeply. So we're going to take a quick break right here, and then we'll be right back with fantasy stuff. All right, we're back. Jake, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, it's kind of wild. This episode has went on as long as it has.
I know. Well, you went on a rant for about 10 minutes.
Was it 10 minutes?
It's probably close to it.
Man. Well earned and well deserved.
Yeah, you earned it.
So, we getting right into this?
Let's get right into it.
Casey feels like she's in a scary movie, -5, because she'd probably be the one to die.
You know what? She wouldn't even probably make the script because he says she's so boring.
That's right. So she'd be the open and kill. You know how like every horror movie has that open and kill scene?
Yeah.
So you know it's a killer movie?
Yeah, she'd be the one.
It's someone that's like getting ice cream and then they turn around and then someone stabs them in the face or something.
Yeah.
And that's their whole story arc.
Nom's testicles, -5 to Nom.
He's
Nom's not even on here anymore. He's eliminated.
Hey, we gave points to Josh last week after he was gone, so yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Let me check. I can confirm this. Well, he got eliminated last week at the beginning.
But
of last week's episode.
it was. I've got the chart right here. I gave him points afterwards because.
So he was still actually on the episode
because he had inspired Nani after his leaving.
Yeah,
but he was on the episode.
Nom wasn't on this episode.
Yeah, but he got the points even when he wasn't there.
I'll allow it just out of a precedence because you did give it. I remember now you gave it to him after he was gone, but he actually was still on the episode. But you know, we'll see.
Yeah, he's been gone longer than Nom has. If you want to make that argument,
yeah.
So CT is yawning, 5 points while everyone else is yelling. CT's yawning. Kyle is delicate, -5.
What was he delicate about? I don't remember.
He made a comment about being delicate, Zach. I don't get into details here.
Okay.
Let's see. Kyle is dead. Nisa has little hands, -5.
And off with a lot of negatives.
And short, even shorter arms, another -5. Leroy isn't hungry, -5.
Because he's not hungry?
Well, I like being hungry because I get to eat good food.
Okay.
Anissa has seen big balls. 10 points to Anissa.
5 for each ball.
Yeah. Casey didn't know there was cheese in the Arctic. Did you guys know that?
I mean, I would have assumed that. Also, they're like in Iceland or something, right? Or Greenland. It's not like they're not like up in like Antarctica. Or anything.
So is that -5 worthy?
Actually, Antarctica is way down south, but yeah. You know, it's a lack of knowledge on her part.
-5.
Okay.
So freaking autocorrect, man. Cory made a quote about the cheese water thing. I think he said something like TJ more cheese water or something. So 10 points to Cory.
He said he said I'll take 2.
I'll take 2.
What's your autocorrect say?
TW cheese wafers.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what it should be.
10 points to Cory.
That sounds like someone's really proper name from like the 1800s.
Picky eater Fessy, -5 points.
Also, bad actor Fessy.
Well, you want to give him another -5?
He should.
Thanks.
There we go. Cam's building a sandcastle with the testicles. 5 points. Because if you're not going to eat them, build a sandcastle.
Might as well play with
Might
them.
as well enjoy him.
Cam can't understand CT's words. -5. Gabby is downing the testicles. 5 points to Gabby. But Fessy won't want to kiss her. -5 to Gabby. Leroy and Casey finish the food first. 10 points
To each?
to each. Cory cannot stop throwing up. -10. That was brutal.
And again, just leaning back to where it gets the most on him as possible.
Yeah.
All over himself.
25 to Casey and Leroy for the win. And another 5 points to them because they're proud of each other. Here we go with TJ calling out everybody. He's proud of CT, Cory, and Gabby. 10 points to those three.
A piece, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
hard
CT,
to
Cory, and
define.
Gabby.
Yeah. All right.
And -10 to Cam.
Are you going to do everyone else?
Yes.
Oh, man. You're going to have to give me a second. Okay. All right. I'm. You don't have to name all. Actually, go ahead and name all of them so it gives me time to type all this.
Cam, Nani, Kyle, Darrell, Amber B, Fessy, and Anissa.
Yeah. Not Leroy and Casey. I got him.
Right.
What about Big T? She didn't compete, so she's exempt.
She's exempt.
And not Gabby.
Yeah, I didn't do Gabby.
Okay.
Now, she got 10 points because TJ applauded her along with Cory
Yep.
and CT. Leroy still has testicles in his teeth. -5. Kissing action from Fessy and Gabby. 5 points to them. Let's see. Kyle is definitely laying there wide awake while Fessy and Gabby are canoodling. 5 points to Kyle for being a... I don't know. Was that a -5 for being a
Keeping
creep?
to himself.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although,
Just letting it happen.
I don't know if it's weird if like someone chooses to like do something
in
in a
your
bunk
room.
where you're trying to sleep. I don't think that's a negative necessarily.
Yeah.
So what is it? I didn't give it to him. Oh, you know what I did? I
Yeah, you did.
I gave him 5. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fessy's in a complicated situation with these girls. -5. Nani is ready to get her gold skull finally. 5 points. But she's still worried about Gabby. -5.
Okay.
Let's see. 5 points to Nani and Gabby for the peaceful, cordial deliberation.
Yeah. Honestly.
Anissa is upset, frustrated, and traumatized. -5.
I thought you were going to do 5 for each emotion.
-5 for frustration.
But you know what? I'll give her 5 points for the quote, "If I have to cry to get to the final, that's what I'll do."
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Kyle does not like TJ's games. -5. Gabby is... Yep.
I was going to say it's ironic because was it last week or the week before last? He just kept
It was
yelling,
last
I
week.
love this game.
It was last week. I love this game. I love this game.
So what was after Kyle?
Gabby is hoping and praying. 5 points. And Nani is fired up. 5 points. Gabby with the juke. 5 points. But she ain't fast enough. -5. 5 points to Gabby for getting the first ring on her pole. But here, I'm sorry, Ham, but -10 to Gabby because she jumps as high as Hannah does.
Hey.
That's a callback that I don't. So just for when you were married, Jake, for some reason,
Shout
in
out to
your
my
house-
ex-wife. Hope she's doing well.
For some
We
reason,
talk about her all the time.
for some reason in your house, my wife and your your ex-wife decided that they were going to show us how well they could jump.
No, you guys did it first.
Oh yeah, we jumped, and
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, you guys have to do it.
No. We jumped and like it was like, wow, how'd you guys do that? And we're like, what are you talking about?
You were jumping from
as far as
you
we
were
could.
trying to go from one end of the couch to the other end of the couch without touching the ground.
We did.
You wanted to make the link.
We did. Like we made the length of the couch. We didn't clear the couch. We weren't jumping over it, but we were flat-footed, or maybe we were ran. But we cleared the length of the couch, and then they tried, and it was like if you had. It was like if you had someone that had only read about how to jump but had never seen it, and it blew our minds that because she was an athlete in high school. I don't know about your ex.
Peyton was not.
Well, I wasn't going to say her name, but okay.
She was really graceful though.
I don't know about that, but
I wasn't very graceful.
Neither one of you could clear basically more than a phone book.
we're talking maybe like 3 or 4 inches max here.
Yeah,
Right?
I was in socks too.
It was mind blowing. It was mind blowing.
Whatever sort of fascination you found with athletes who can jump so high and so far, this was equally as fascinating.
Yeah.
It really was. We're going to get video of Han jumping one day and just throw it on Twitter. Because that is... I mean, Han, you've already put on your Instagram story you falling down.
That is true.
I know. Like
you
there
did that
were
one.
there were a few people tonight that wanted to see that video. So I had to pull
Yeah,
it back
that was...
out.
Okay.
And then there were people in the Slack
That's a
group
good
that
one.
wanted to
Yeah,
see
so-
it again.
So
that reemerged in the Slack group.
So
today.
that's why Gabby got those negative points right there.
Yeah, -10. Nani got her back with her own juke. 5 points to Nani. And 50 points to Nani for the win. -25 to Gabby for the loss. Big T is crying and upset. -5.
Was she?
Yes, she was. She was
I
upset.
didn't even catch that.
She was because Gabby was her friend.
But we've got Happy Nani. 5 points to Nani. Fessy lost his girl. -5. Cory loses another partner. -10. Kyle got picked by Anissa. -5. And he can't hide his disappointment. Another -5. But Anissa's being a good sport through it all. 5 points to Anissa.
I mean, she still got a good partner out of it.
Yeah.
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 I mean, Kyle's you could do
Kyle's a
worse
good
than Kyle.
partner.
And that segment brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Eat fresh.
All right, well, we will be right back after I do all of this math.
And we are back. Again, that segment brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Eat fresh.
So interesting week this week. Hannah had a lot of scoring. Obviously, like the way that these episodes are going, it's almost a little beneficial to not have as many people because there's less of a chance that they can screw up. It's really a double-edged sword going forward. Mm-hmm. So Hannah for the week. Fessy got her -25.
Oh.
Kyle got her -25.
Hey.
Cory got her 0. Cam got her -10. Nam got her -5 from the grave. Now here's the redeeming thing. Nani got her 60. And then Gabby got her -5 overall. So she ended up with a -10 for the week.
Oh, God.
So she is at 600 total for the week. I mean for the season. For me, CT got me 15, Leroy got me 30. Amber B got me -10, and Big T got me -5. I ended up with 30 for the week, and so I'm at 670. Jake, Darrell got you -10. Casey got you 30. And then Anissa got you -5. So you only got 15 for the week, so you didn't make much of a power move there. You're at 335, still almost double behind Hannah. And if you doubled your score, you'd be close to me.
Yeah.
But still, you got a gap to make up. I'm slowly pulling ahead because Hannah keeps having bad weeks.
Yeah, and then Jake's trying to make people that aren't even on the show anymore do points.
You lost
Listen, I
5
can't
over it.
I know, but still,
I can't.
It's the
I can't
principle of the
control.
thing.
We agreed unilaterally to let him control the points in this.
Yeah, but we're allowed to veto every now and then.
I
Yeah,
agree with that. But he had set the precedent that, and it was just 5 points. It wasn't like a killer thing. 5 points is not going to make or break the season.
Yeah, if you end up losing this by 5 points, Han, then you can call me out for it. But until then,
so that let me go back up to the top. I gotta update our scoring. So Jake, you're at 335.
Yeah.
Hannah is in second place at 600.
Where my 335ers at, huh?
And then I am in first place with 670. And then I'll have to update the totals from there. But that is what it is. And that's all we got for this week. We'll be back with you guys next week. I think it's an hour and a half episode again. And like I said at the top of the show, patreon.com/smashingheads podcast. We did put up a video and audio version of our Patreon hangout with Statman Paul. I think it's about an hour and 40 minutes. We always do video and audio of those, so if you want to just listen, you can do that. And we also threw up, like I said last week, we didn't throw up, but we threw it up on Patreon.
We projectile vomited onto Patreon.
Yeah, the Twitch chat. I mean, not the chat, but the Twitch trivia thing that Jake and I did with those other podcasts. That's up on our Patreon as well. And you know what? We're in talks about doing the trivia thing, like Jake said, with you guys to see who knows me the best. And then also, there's a possibility we might bring back an old show that we did on Patreon, Watching Heads. We might watch Kid Nation if I can find all the episodes.
I want to watch it so bad.
And so, other than that, we will be back with you next week. And please rate and review on iTunes. They really do help people find the show. And our P.O. Box is in the note descriptions. And we will be back with you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.